call the meeting to order of the council meeting for November 27 at 5:30 for the city of Fulton. I'll wait for Tori to get ready.
Yes.
I need roll call, please.
Mayor Wendy.
Here.
Alderperson Banker.
Here.
Boonstra.
Here.
Brondike.
Here.
Berggraff.
Here.
King.
Here.
Mass. Van Campen.
Here.
Wilkin.
Here. Very good. We stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good. Appointments, we have none. Recognition of volunteers, we have none. Communication from visitors, unless Zach wants to speak to
Nope.
us.
Nope. You
Okay.
answered my question.
All right, and then presentation, and this is from Lynn Roth. I gave him a text earlier, and I didn't get a response. He was supposed to come this evening, so I pushed him off to December 11th. So I don't see him here. We're going to go forward. And then we go on to the consent agenda, and may I have a motion to approve the council meeting minutes for November 13th.
I'll make that motion.
And then may I have a second?
I'll second that motion.
And are there any questions or concerns or corrections? I did not see any, but I've been known to miss a few. Hearing none, then may I have roll call to approve?
Alderperson Banker.
Yes.
King.
Yes.
Mass. Van Campen.
Yes.
Boonstra.
Yes.
Wilkin.
Yes.
Brondike.
Yes.
Berggraff.
Yes. Very good. We go on to the only motion item that we have this evening is to approve the liquor committee appointed by Mayor Wendy. The liquor commissioner will chair the committee. Members are alderpersons Barb Mass, Sue Van Campen, Terry Boonstra, and Jackie Wilkin. And we need council approval because there are more than 3 council people on this committee. And then if we have the council permission, it is just fine. Motion?
Motion to approve that.
Second?
Second.
Okay, and roll call, please.
Alderperson Berggraff.
Yes.
Banker.
Yes.
Brondike.
Yes.
Wilkin. Yes. Van Campen.
Yes.
Mass. Boonstra.
Yes.
King.
No.
Okay. Very good. We go on to the committee of the whole discussion. And Rebecca's first up here to discuss the IML recommendation for the model ordinance for the Illinois Paid Leave for All Workers Act.
Governor Pritzker signed into law earlier this year a new statute that's going to require all employers in the state of Illinois, including municipalities, other than potentially home rule municipalities, to provide 1 hour of paid vacation time, paid leave for any reason, can be taken for any reason, for every 40 hours worked. So the Illinois Municipal League is recommending that all of its member municipalities enact an ordinance codifying their existing paid leave policies, because the statute does provide an exemption for paid leave policies that are already provided by ordinance. So what this would do, and this is exactly their language, I didn't draft it, it's their model ordinance. What this would do is it would just codify that we are going to continue to follow our existing agreements and our existing collective bargaining agreements, and that if we did have an employee that's not covered by one of those, they are guaranteed at least 1 day of paid leave for the calendar year, so that we are in compliance with the idea that we are providing paid leave. That again is the IML recommending that, because of course until somebody tests this in court, we don't know how it's going to shake out. But I believe the policies you have for existing employees are probably already more generous than that.
Very much so.
So you're probably not going to have any kind of issues. It's just if you didn't enact an ordinance by the end of the year, then any new hires that are not falling under one of those collective bargaining agreements are going to be under this this act as far as the paid leave goes.
If you have any questions for Rebecca, otherwise it's going to be on as a motion to approve on next meeting. But if you have questions for Rebecca, now is the time to ask. But we do above and beyond what this is
As long
anyway,
as you
so
go
this
above and
is.
beyond, you're not
What
gonna have
what does
any
it say in
problems.
there about like part-time, Rebecca? Is this just for full-time?
No, it's part-time as well. It's all employees. It's every 40 hours they have worked. That includes overtime hours, all of it.
But if they're part-time and they don't meet 40 hours, do they still qualify?
Well,
It
it's
doesn't
not
matter.
40
It's
per week.
cumulative.
Yeah.
Every 40
Oh,
hours they
oh.
work, they get 1 hour of paid vacation time. So if somebody works 20 hours a week, they're getting an hour every 2 weeks.
And is that supposed to be in addition to
No,
any?
no.
So
If
that's
you already have an
lease.
agreement that's more generous than that,
That's the
They're
lease.
supposed to be that.
Rebecca,
at
how would,
least you can always give more. You can't give less.
Right.
Rebecca, how would that affect, like, when we hire the young kids to mow?
Well,
Well, that's what we're
that's
trying
what
to
we're
figure out.
see, we don't have any stipulations in our leave time right now for them or for part-time. They haven't gotten anything. It's just been for our full-time.
But they will under this.
They will under this.
They will under this. Are they being treated as an employee or as an independent contractor?
Employees.
Employee.
Okay, then there's, the paid leave act would apply to them.
What if we codify something less than what the paid leave act is before that suspense date?
You're codifying your employee handbook as amended from time to time.
Okay.
And ours is more generous than this
Yes.
anyway.
Except for
Except for
part-time.
part-time.
So we'd have to just add them,
We can figure out
figure it out.
for the summertime, and then because most of the kids don't work past, I would say, middle of August. So we can figure out how many weeks from. It's usually middle of May through middle of August. So we can just figure out how many weeks they're there for that, and that'll be how many they'll get.
And then under their last check, they just
They
get
could
that,
get paid.
whatever.
If you get paid, or they'll, well, most of them take a vacation throughout the summer anyway,
Oh.
so they can use them for that. or whatever.
Okay.
Oh, no, I don't know how that works.
Okay. Any other questions? Otherwise, we'll go on, and it'll be on for a motion at next meeting. Then we go on to number 2, and that's the discussion items, 2023, 2024 tax levy and bond abatements, and Tammy gets to explain that.
Every year we have to do a tax levy. Tax levy is based on our real estate property taxes that are paid within the city limits. I spoke with Dana Nelson, our county clerk. She at that time gave me the, let me turn over here, the maximum amount that we could levy without having a public hearing if you wanted to go more.
Or a
Since
referendum.
I have not, since I've been here and since 2005, we have never done that. I could reach out to past city administrators to see if there was anything ever done before, but I've never heard of it. I think what we're levying this year, it's about $30-some thousand more than last year. I think that's adequate. I don't believe that we need to levy for a higher amount, but that would be the council's decision on that.
All your paperwork is in your packet. Do you have any questions for Tammy?
I think on my business report, I broke it down into the exact. The increase in the tax levy is $32,455 more than we previously levied last year. And then it did give the, as far as the bonds, they're not levied, so we just make payments, our annual payments to that, they're not included in the levy. And it did state in the regular tax levy itself on the front,
what we would be receiving: general corporate fund, $153,000, police protection, $45,000 approximately, and on down. That's where we come up to the $693,000.
The $35,000 increase is just based on the tax increase?
On the tax
Yeah.
increase that residents have paid. And of course, if you want to make that higher, then taxes go up higher. But I do feel our general fund, what we have now in reserves, it would not be justified to ask our taxpayers to come up with more money.
But it doesn't show much growth either, so that's something, but we're kind of in a city that we don't have much growth to go, so. Any other questions? Otherwise, it'll be on for a motion for the next meeting. We go on to number 3, discussion on hiring a code enforcement officer, and I'll let Nick take this.
So I included pages 26 through 29. I previously passed out information, referenced the International Property Maintenance Code 2 meetings ago. That was basically for you guys to have an opportunity to review, take a look at. This would be, page 26 is an estimated cost on the high end, based on salaries, benefits, and needed equipment. The following pages are a job description. I had asked to have the flavor of the council by the first meeting in December, kind of what your thoughts are moving into the next budget year. So it's, by next meeting, I asked that, if you guys have questions, come talk to me. I'll try to answer them the best I can. So by next meeting, you guys can decide, let's look at try to get more information if need be for our budget discussions, or put it to bed. It's been a topic of conversation for a while now, and it's either you guys, the flavor of the council is to figure out a way to make it happen, or again, put it to bed. So it's more just information passed out right now for you guys to review, to ask questions about before the next meeting, and get all that facilitated. So.
Very good. And when was that packet that was from 1999 that we have in there? That descriptor.
What page is that on? 32.
Yeah.
Do you want to wait till we get to that later?
Sure.
Okay. So, because that's in my chief of police report, so I can discuss that.
All right, very good. Then if no one has any questions, then we're going to all do our homework and see what we think. But otherwise, we'll go on to the discussion on a new generator for City Hall. And Nick has that report in the packet as well.
I don't know where we.
I talked to Clay today.
Okay.
So I talked to the electrician we use for 90% of the projects we do here in town, and he said it's very oversized for this building. He says the generator we have out at Public Works would run everything we would need to here. So he's going to be here. It's looking like probably Thursday. We're going to sit down. We're going to go through, and we're going to iron some numbers out with him. So
you'll be coming back to us with hard numbers.
We'll have a better report on numbers hopefully for the next meeting.
Because at this price, we don't need a generator.
It's actually,
It goes at 100 kilowatt generator.
yeah, it's way oversized. And when I told him what it was sized at, he's like, "What are you trying to run down there?" Not that much.
Run the whole town. Yeah. Well, and the big thing is questions were had of what direction we were going, and we didn't have a lot. So I called, and out of the 3 people I talked to, this is the only one I got back. So,
Okay.
So information for you to chew on.
Well, it's going to make the next number sound really well when we get done. So that's something, it could cause. So we go on to number 5. That's the discussion for the law enforcement simulator. All elected officials will participate in the law enforcement use of Force Simulator, and that date is to be determined. And Nick, if you'd like to explain the simulator.
The simulator is a mobile simulator. I'm certified to run one of the mobile team training units mobile simulators, which is a large projection screen simulator where we as officers train de-escalation, use of force. I can set it as the controller to as if you do A, I can respond with B. If you do D, I can respond with E. We're going to have it for hopefully 3 to 4 weeks. We're looking to put it up in the training room at the fire department to have enough space to be able to utilize it, because it does require to move around a little bit and interact with it. And the fact that we have this opportunity to be able to do that here locally as elected officials, it's my ask that all of you come out once we have it set up. If we got to do it in an evening, we got to, just a time that works for you that we can get together and spend 30 to 45 minutes. You can kill zombies when you're done. That opportunity's on there. So there's, the guns that the sim guns shoot a little laser dot, and it's like going to the arcade, but it's really big. But it's a great training opportunity for us, and I just would really like to get all of you out there to see just how quickly some of these things can go from 0 to 80. And every scenario that is set up in that program is set up from a real-life law enforcement situation. So I don't know, I should get it the second week of December, so hopefully middle of December, beginning of January, we can get out, get with me, let you guys know when it's available, and get a time, and you can come see how we do some of our training and stuff like that. So,
How were we able to get the opportunity to have it?
how are we? So the mobile team unit, the state of Illinois purchases the equipment. It's funded through the mobile team, which is based out of Dixon, which covers Whiteside, Lee, Ogle, Carroll, and that's our mobile team unit. So the state funds the equipment. I and our officer, Hermes, have both gone to the instructor course, so we know how to set it up, build it, and do all that different stuff. So, so the cost to us, we pay dues to the MTU every year, about $1,000 a year. So there's the due aspect of things, and then the state funding that goes in to support that stuff. So.
Have we ever done this before?
Never. This will be the first time it has ever had an opportunity to use the use of force simulator here in town.
Has it been available before? We just haven't.
No. So me and Chad did the training in the spring, and the larger agencies get first dibs. The smaller agencies kind of trickle in on the backside. And I made my request, and they're like, "Yeah, sorry, you can have it at the middle of December." I'm like, "Okay, I'll take it." Was going to put it up in here, but there's going to be some construction going on, so I've talked to Fire Chief Pell, and doesn't have any issues with setting it up down there. Fire department members are going to get an opportunity to go through some stuff too. I got to give to take a little bit, so one of their training nights are going to be verbal de-escalation as well. So,
Who will you do it with or show it to?
Like
In the community, beyond the council going through.
if somebody knows about it, if Zach calls me up and says I want to go through it, and I've got the time, or me or Chad are available to do it, we'll do what we can to get people to go through it. I mean, it's a great opportunity to learn, just how some of these things work. So you'll have your own little duty belt, and kind of be able to have a holster and a taser holster, and you'll have to pick and choose which device you're going to use to de-escalate your situation, or if you choose the wrong device. What's that?
Can we die on there?
Hypothetically, yes.
Yes, that's what
The screen goes red.
Okay. I just wanted to.
Shoot fast. But yeah, and again, it's in that training environment, we try not to burn officers outside of about 45 minutes. But then, like I said, the fun part is there is, like a target shooting thing, or you can shoot the zombies. It just takes. Yeah, you might have messed up and didn't. And you learned from it here, but now let's put some fun into it on your way out the door, so it's not all negative feedback training. So, like I said, it's a great opportunity to have it. It's a great opportunity for us to have myself and another officer who were trained to be able to run it, and it's a fun opportunity for our elected officials. And hopefully we'll get some of the kids from the high school. I'm going to try to get those, the ones that are in the juvenile justice program out at WAC. We'll try to get them through it as well. So while we have it.
All right. We go on to number 6, and that sounds like fun, by the way, Nick. We'll see. Discussion item for the senior center in Fulton. We were talking, and we need to talk with Parks and Rec about this, but we did discuss if the Whiteside County Senior Center would like to provide some services that they provide that maybe, possibly, we could use the Cattell Park. This isn't, we're not looking at a permanent, solution, but hopefully a permanent solution will make it in a few years, and at least we'll have something or some place for them to go. So I think that's what we'll do, is put it in Parks and Rec to see if it's, capable. They did say they only needed enough for 45 people, but the events that they have are, yoga and euchre and pool table. Of course, we wouldn't do pool tables. Knitting club, just some place for them to go in these bad weather, and that they can talk with one another, I think is a positive, and we don't have that right now. So
I think that's what the Dries building was going to do.
Well, in the interim, I would like this to start immediately, but evidently that's, it's not ready for that. And so, to me, I think we're doing a disservice to the seniors who used to have, the place where we go for lunches and everything. Now, the food will be a concern out there because it's not a certified kitchen, but just if they could do a few of these things. And then they also have the bus trips, that it could be a place where they could meet, park their car, get on the bus, and incorporate some of the things for Whiteside County. I mean, these are for all of Whiteside County, and we're never involved in it. And we're never involved in it because we don't have a place close enough for them to go. So this could be, a little alternative.
What about the First Reformed Church where they serve the meals, senior meals?
And that's an option too. So I want you guys to look into that as well. They just said no stairs, so I know that's.
I was thinking Presbyterian Church because they just have that great kitchen and carpet.
See,
and
I
area.
want you to look
so
into
as long as it
all-
doesn't have to be a municipal building.
It doesn't, as
we can
long
work with
as
some
you
of the
can.
local churches.
Yes.
Okay.
And just to get, pardon me?
Who's running?
It's the Whiteside Senior Center, and they have a board. They have the whole 9 yards, and he said that he came over before last meeting. That's when I passed out this, and he said, we're doing you a disservice only because we don't have a place to be. And he said, now can we offer all of this? No, but he says we could offer some of it. And I said, well, would there be a fee? Because I'm thinking you have to pay these people and he said at this time, no. So even if we do just a couple events or something for the seniors
So they
to get
furnish all the people, the food, and
to
everything?
to do like the bingo, they have that
They do
person.
all
Well, that's what I was, because I think that was one of the things that was over here, was the city ended up getting too involved
Right.
with staffing and
Right,
cleanup
yeah.
and all the above. That's why they so this would not include anybody.
Okay.
No. He
Can you
might
give me
ask
the
for
contact-
volunteers.
Can you give me
Right.
the contact information for that
Yep.
person?
I can. I will shoot it over to you, but I just didn't want it to drop off because I do think it's an important thing that we have for them. There are lots, and he says we go to the casinos, and there must be one over in Whiteside County somewhere. But it has to stay in Illinois, otherwise we'd take a couple of trips over to Iowa, but we can't do that through the Whiteside County. But he says that bus is packed when we go to the casino. But just for something for them to do. And so, anyway, it's just something I'll put in your guys' lap and you can go forward with it. But a church would work just as fine, and especially if they had a certified kitchen. That's what we don't have at the Cattail. So, you know, we can have the
Yeah, 'cause
events.
The First Reform must be because they serve.
Well,
and
Presbyterian
the might be
should be
Plus the
too.
fire department.
And
I'm
fire
not, I'm
department.
not a certified kitchen.
No.
I thought they were.
So, anyway, we're gonna go forward with that. The continued discussion regarding the liquor licenses. There has been some concern, and Nick brought it to my attention, that there were businesses that were serving alcohol without going through, I guess, proper procedure, and that's probably my fault. I told every business, because for 14 years, I served wine once a month, and as long as I had my insurance, which had a hospitality clause, and I told all the businesses this, if they had a hospitality clause in, which most businesses do, because you'll want 2 times a year to give, you know, customer appreciation day or something. And as long as you're giving it and not charging for it, you have the opportunity, and I don't think as a city we should get involved unless the city could be liable, and that's what Rebecca and I are going to look into as far as it being a city event. So if it's private business, I don't think we can touch them. The only thing I got shut down for was there's an Illinois state statute out there that says you may not lure people into your business by the use of alcohol. So what we did after, I don't know, we did it for 5 years, we just took the advertisement out, and that was I talked to my attorney, which was Bill Shirk, and he says just don't advertise for it, but they need this hospitality license. Nick said that's something that we can talk about in the committee that we're going to go forward, and that maybe they need to show us proof of their insurance, and then it's all on them then. I don't think we need to micromanage businesses, you know. Sip and Shop went wonderful. It was great, and so that I did tell the businesses, you check your insurance. If you have a hospitality clause, you can do that. So that's what we're going to check as far as the liability for the city. But if they walk out of Denny O's or Johnny's, the city's not liable for somebody drinking and tripping on our sidewalks. We just, you know, you have to look at the big picture, so.
The control that they have over the bar owners is the liquor license, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. which
But
is why
once
they're-
they come out.
Should be trying to control that.
Right,
Yeah.
once they come out, then it's not the
Well, and really,
city's
they shouldn't
responsible.
have been leaving anywhere with a drink in their hand.
Right, that's exactly right,
So,
yeah. And so we'll go over that. That's something that we'll bring to the liquor committee, and we'll make sure that that's in our ordinance that says, so that we are not liable in any way, but that we give the businesses the freedom to do whatever they want. I don't think we should have that, you know.
So, when it comes to like, so the Sip and Shop, that wasn't, who organized that?
That was the
not
fun
city.
crew.
Okay. How about the Christmas walk?
The Christmas
Is
walk,
anybody gonna be serving any alcohol then?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
It's nothing that we have sanctioned, I mean,
Right.
other than the
Right,
bars, but
right.
they have the licensors to do it.
yeah.
Somebody should.
But again, if you have a business and it's the Christmas walk, and you wanted to make hot cider and have it spiked, and you tell people that it is, you should be able to give that away. I mean, my business, I spent in fact, that's why I stopped doing it, because I was spending like $400 or $500 a month on wine, and so it got to that point where it wasn't within my best interest to keep doing that. But it truly was a gift to my good customers. And that's, you know, and I could kind of run that. In fact, I did. I was always the one that was pouring that night, so.
Okay, the only thing I would question, I don't agree if they come out And if they trip and fall on our city sidewalks, we are liable if they get hurt.
Not if they're drinking, if they find that they're under the influence.
That don't work that way, though. It don't work that way.
I'd ask the attorney in the room.
Yeah,
Whether the city would be liable, I suppose it would matter if there was an actual defect in the.
If there's a defect in our sidewalk,
Because,
Because
There's
they're
over
going
2
to,
inches.
they could potentially sue the city. They're going to sue the dram shop, and then the two insurers are going to fight
Right.
with each other.
well,
That's
I've
what
seen,
typically happens in that situation.
I've seen it happen before. Somebody was killed and they sued the last bar and the city because they went in there and
and that's what I was told with my insurance, Sue, that,
See,
because
I
I
don't know
said,
about-
because I said, okay, what if people have 2 little tastings of wine? They go down to Johnny's, which I have no control over.
No, I'm not.
No, but I'm just saying, and so then they get drunk, they get in an accident, and they said, all the insurances will be involved.
Right, that's what I'm questioning, if somebody would come out and they tripped and fell and they got hurt on a city sidewalk, whether it's wrong or right, okay, and if they had alcohol in them, and it come from a business that didn't have a liquor license, what would happen to us then?
Well, I've had 3 people go out of my business, trip and fall. I had to take one to the hospital with no alcohol.
Well, that's what we need to have checked to make sure, though.
Well, the city would be responsible for that, but all of the people said, this was my own fault, I wasn't looking.
I know.
And you always have that chance to do
I know the
that.
people would, but sometimes the insurance whoever they're insured with, they want to go after somebody else's insurance. They don't want to pay.
Right, and that's exactly what happened with Barb, I think for this last, and correct me if I'm not wrong, the last Dutch Days had insurance, we had insurance, and somebody ran through somebody's fence down there, and then the 2 insurances were just fighting amongst themselves. But that's why we carry insurance. That's why we have $8 million worth of insurance, because that's why you carry your household insurance. If somebody gets in an accident, you know.
And to finish this up, I think the big thing is it was brought to my attention, it was brought to her attention today, talking to Tammy, talking to Wendy, Rebecca. I think we're going to push some back on you just to get some clarification on the legality side of things with this and present it back to that liquor committee. Because as long as we can, if the city can indemnify itself by the fact that a business owner can present the city with the proper insurance policy for these type of events, we can somehow incorporate that into how our new liquor license is written out. So the big thing is I think there's some questions that need to be answered. We don't have those answers to yet, but this is just a talking point for this committee as you get together. Let's fix these problems before we get there.
And one possibility, just off the top of my head here, is that you can purchase individual event insurance. A lot of vendors do purchase that, where the storekeeper could, for that particular event, purchase an event insurance policy that's also going to indemnify the city as a requirement to getting some kind of permit.
Right.
Yeah, because we do have a business down here that she had to get a liquor license.
Who's that?
The one that has the art drawing down here.
For her business.
You got to pay for it.
That was her business, because she wanted to have wine and
She's selling
painting. And painting.
Yeah, I thought that she just to serve.
No, she was.
Is she selling it also?
yeah, she's no longer in business.
Oh, okay, because I know it was painting lessons and she wanted to be able to serve wine.
She's empty, she's gone. Yeah,
She
she
has what
hasn't,
you're talking about.
It was a curious hat.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
down there.
yeah.
It
Way down.
unfortunately, I don't think made it through COVID.
No.
Oh, okay.
All right.
But that's something we'll bring up at the committee, and just to make sure all these little check marks, and to make it as easy for the businesses as possible. That's my goal, so. And I think it should be the city's goal too, so that we can not scrutinize every inch of what you're doing. You're the one paying for it, right, Jackie?
That's right.
Okay. So we'll try to do our best with that and get Rebecca involved and go forward. But then we go on to the committee reports, and we don't have too many except for Marina. And you have a report?
Just what I shared with them there. We just,
Okay.
Barb and I took some time to meet with Tammy and Eric just to get some clarification, because her and I were both new to the committee, and we had met with the committee members without Eric, and so we just wanted some clarification on some things. And just basically what I shared in there, we're just gonna kind of reconvene after the first of the year, and, but most of the topics that were of concern were addressed, and we felt comfortable with the answers that we received, so that's all
Good.
shared within your packets.
Any questions for her? Nope.
How much longer for the dredging?
Good answer for you now. He comes and works a day, and then he doesn't show up for another 2-3 weeks, and then he works a day.
It's almost like he's narrowing it. He's bringing that island further to the east.
He actually widened it out.
Really?
Going through, so as you're heading south, he actually widened it out, but he's like staging it where it looks like he's narrowing it up, so he can take it from there and put it on the shore. So he's just, getting it closer to where he can get it out of there. So it's, not a good process, but it's a process, I guess.
How long has he been doing this?
February will be a year since he started.
How much have we paid him so far, Eric?
I don't know off the top of my head. I want to say about 70,000. I want to say. I think
We were looking at a grand total of about 100, just over
150 is
It was 150.
is what we took the loan out for.
Yeah.
So is he halfway done?
Oh, the only thing he really has left is the inner marina.
Okay.
So that's really all we're kind of
Okay,
waiting
so
on.
it's-
So the rest of it, he's dredged throughout the summer, and so I'm hoping he gets going on the inner marina.
Okay.
I've got lots of text messages to him, but
Is this someone that is a dredger, that's done this before, or is
ponds never dredged like a marina like what we have. This was a first for him, so that's why the price was so cheap. But he's done. So far, what he's done has been good from what everybody's told me. So just not real fast.
And I think that's the same way with the band shell as well. It's going along, but it's just not
They're
going
just kind of
very-
using that as a fill-in in between jobs, and not all of the material is there because it wasn't ordered originally when he told me it was ordered. So
so they are waiting on material too?
I know they're waiting on steel right now to
Okay.
do the roof. So
Okay. I just
I
thought
found
it
that
was
out
their harvest
today.
time, and so
Yeah.
I thought they were really busy, so.
yep.
Okay. Well, we kind of went over Eric's report. Does anybody have any more questions for Eric? Because there are too many besides Nick's, so. You have any other questions for Eric? We might as well just finish that up. So can we go on to, I have mayor's report. I just have a request from, actually it's Patty and Russ Hogame. Their mother-in-law, which they are caring for the house because she's in Florida. They've had backup sewage for 3 different times. Well, between Eric and I today, we found out that it's 18th place. It's a block long. 16th place. I keep saying that, don't I, Dan? 16th place.
Yep.
And it's a block long, and those houses were built in there, and they all face what should be the alley to most places. But to do that, whenever they built, and I did ask her to go back and see if she could find that whenever
Yeah.
it was.
Well, and it could have been an instance where it was kind of a handshake deal. Hey, I'll get it run and I'll maintain it. And
So they put in their own sewer. They put in their own sewer to hook to either end of ours. So it does go through our service. They questioned to me the fact, why are they paying a sewer bill? And I says, well,
every time you flush the toilet, it's got to go somewhere.
That's right, and so you are using our services once it makes it to our main.
Yep.
So that was okay. They are wondering if we ever have the ability or how it's done to annex in. And my response was, I would think that the city would have to put in new sewer and the 4 people that live there would have to pay for it. That's what I said.
Wouldn't have to put in any new sewer.
Oh, you don't think
I mean,
so?
they're not necessarily annexing in. They're already a part of our system. It would just be essentially us taking over maintenance of the sewer line. So if there's a sewer backup or
And you would accept the sewer that's there?
I'd have to see it. I don't know
Right.
what's there, but if it meets size. But I mean, we have other ones in town that's only a 6-inch sewer line, and
And you care for it?
yeah. I mean, it only services one house, but it's there. It's ours. So
Okay.
I mean, it's one of those things that it was probably just done over a handshake, and I've asked her, are any of the neighbors having this issue? And it doesn't sound like they are, so that leads me to believe this is an isolated incident. So,
Right.
I mean,
But their question to me was, could they ask to be annexed in? And I said, I'm gonna bring it to council, because
I mean,
Eric said
it wouldn't
that would
necessarily
be council
be-
approval.
yeah, they wouldn't be annexing in. We would just take over service of the line
Okay.
if it was big enough.
Okay.
And that would be the main concern is it is big enough.
Right.
Like our jetter nozzle puts out so much pressure. If it's anything less than 6-8 inches, we'll blow it apart.
Oh,
Like
okay.
it's too much pressure for it.
Okay.
So if it's anything less than that, then we can't even service it. So that's where it serves 4 homes, I think. So
And it could be that it was put in improperly, and it's
You
too
never
low,
know.
that,
yeah, why they're the only ones having issues, I don't know. I don't have a good answer for on that. But
Eric, has this got anything to do with the one on 15th Avenue that's having problems?
Well, they should just get a camera.
Did you look at that one?
yeah, our side is flowing, and like I had explained, like for that one, again, it's an isolated incident to where if more than one person's having issues, okay, we know we have a problem. But when it comes down to where it's only this house, okay, then we've got it narrowed down to one house, and they need to get a hold of a plumber because it doesn't.
and that's what they're doing, and
Right,
they're
and
snaking
they are,
it all
yep.
the way to our service, so we're gonna see if that helps. But
Yep.
that was the question, I
Yep.
didn't have an answer,
And like I said, that would be up to, because technically we don't own the road in front of there. We don't own that section of 16th Place.
Well,
It's
and that's
private
where,
ownership.
right.
I've called the courthouse to see if they have any documentation, and they have nothing. So that's another one she had asked, would the city take that over? I said, well, that is a council decision, not
Right.
mine.
And that, when we lived there for a small period
Mhm.
of time. And, I questioned why wasn't it blacktopped? Because
Yep.
if it's a street, but Eric says it's because it's not.
It's not actually a city street.
It's not actually a city street, so. Anyway, I did my due diligence. Anybody want to comment on that?
No, I think that happened down by me is when Roy Nelson,
Okay.
and when his dad lived in that little house there.
Okay.
And that's how he took care of that road and that all the time for that. And that's 16th Place that has always been there since, and I've lived there 50 years. So,
Yep.
so.
Yeah, and like I said, I know I'm not going to have any paperwork to show whose ownership it is, but if the courthouse doesn't have anything, then we really wouldn't have anything. So
Because they used to have, that used to be the lumber yard, Russ Nelson's
Oh, okay.
lumber yard, right there.
okay, yeah. So I mean, it's up to the council on how they want to proceed with it, or if they just want to say, hey, it's been this way for 80 some years and we never had any problems. So I'm okay either way, but just figured that's more your guys' decision than it is mine. So.
And we don't have any. We can go on to
No,
Alder.
they let them get a camera and see what is up.
Yeah, I mean, either way, it's the homeowner's responsibility from
Yes.
their house to the sewer main.
Yes.
So it's one of those. no matter how they look at it, it's still up to them to get it repaired.
So we'll just leave
And
it
they
at
did,
that.
they did say that they realized that, so.
Yeah, and I had talked to Patty earlier in
Yeah.
the day, so and she understood, but she just was hoping.
Well, she was concerned because they paid water and sewer all
Right.
this time, but I said, you
Yep.
have to realize that your sewer does go into
Yeah,
our
we are
sewer.
still providing a service
Right.
to them. They're not just paying it, not.
And she
bidding
goes,
it.
oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
So that was how that went, so. Okay? We go into Alderman reports, and I have none at this time. Chief of Police report. Nick, would you like to?
To answer your question about the 1999 report, every once in a while the conversation gets brought up about the 1999 staffing report. Here's the 1999 staffing report for you to read and have available if you want to read it. Because when people bring it up, they're like, I don't know what we're talking about. Well, here's the 1999 staffing report. So feel free to read it when it's convenient to you. If you haven't already read it, it's just a report that I think it was Harvey Mead, the chief at the time, had done and listed out what the staffing level should be for the agency based on information in 1999. But everybody talks about it. There you go.
Is it still relevant?
What's that?
Still relevant?
We're instead of 2,000 calls per service, we're about 6,000 calls per service. So I would say it's still, depending on how you want to look at it, very relevant report, but this is the only report that's ever been done. And this, again, is what some people see it, some people are like, oh yeah, I remember talking about that. And like I said, hey, is it relevant? Sure. Should it be redone? Yeah. My understanding from roads, I think it cost about $20,000 to have it done in 1999. So, I mean, if you want to have a new one done, I can poke around and try to figure out what something like that would cost. Or you can read the 1999 one. And just kind of factor in increases and go from there. So, really not a lot to talk about. It's just there for people to have reference to if it comes up in conversation again in the future. So,
Can you tell me our current staff?
so right now we have 7, including myself, we have 8 officers, and one of those is allocated to the school. So if you take Jeremy out of the equation at the school, we have 7.
Because Jeremy doesn't do
During the
rounds.
school year, he's strictly predominantly at the school.
Okay.
So we have him for 3 months out of the year. He uses all of his time off during Thanksgiving break, Christmas break, and summer break. So by the time you factor in the fact he has 5 weeks of vacation, personal days plus comp time. Usually in the summer, I'm lucky to get him about 3 to 4 weeks out of a 3-month period. So, yeah, I have 7, and then I have Jeremy.
Where's he at with his contract, by the way?
The school. I think we got another year.
Was that a 5-year contract?
Is it 3?
3 or 3.
Okay. Any other questions? We went over Eric's report. Are there any other questions for Eric? Historical Society, there's not a report. Business Manager's report is on the very last page. Do you have questions for Tammy?
I just wanted, Jeff, I know it was a question of yours the last time about the video gaming, the treasurer's report and versus what was you found on the website. I did some research for the past 12 months. It is because the state of Illinois is always 2 to 3 months behind sending us those checks. But the Clinton Herald newspaper must have listened to the video too, because I've had like 6 different messages from her wanting to know what the difference was. But everything was, your number was correct and the treasurer's number was correct too, but they're just time sensitive there. It's 2 months different.
Thanks for digging into that, Jamie.
Any other questions?
Well, one last. Where are we at with the snow route signs? Are they?
I think they're in at the shop. I'll have to double check. We got a shipment, but I don't know if that one was included in it. Because I noticed it said box 102, but I don't see box 2. So, but I don't know what was in box 1 either. So I gotta figure that part out.
And Eric, do we
Well,
have
we just
all the
need 'em.
stop signs? Stop signs are all up where they were supposed to be?
Yeah, there's,
Okay.
so the 9th is done and so is 10. So,
Okay.
That's
I
what-
just thought there was going to be one more at the top of that hill. At, it would be 9th, would it be 9th? And then, right at the, you know how it sets back, there's a stop sign there, but then at the
At
top
7th?
of the hill,
7th and
yeah,
the water tower hill.
yeah.
That's where
yeah.
there's two flashing ones there now that we just installed
Yep.
At the,
at the water tower. Yep.
Yep.
Oh,
That's,
okay.
that's a
Yep.
four-way, and then just a
Very
block
good.
east is another four-way. Solar powered flashers, I like
Yep.
it. Yep.
They're not cheap.
Nope.
because that's
Green
where I
hole
thought we
today.
needed them was at
Funeral
the top,
procession.
so that's good.
It's because of the house that's got the brick with the the driveway.
Oh,
Because you can't see
yes,
traffic coming from the westbound going eastbound.
yeah. No, I just didn't know that they were up. I thought
Yep,
I
I
was
think
that's
it's
right. Very good.
2 weeks ago.
May 16th.
You guys were quick on that.
So those flashing lights would come down eventually, right? And you just put a regular stop sign up and use them somewhere else.
I mean, you could move them around if you want.
Yeah,
right?
right.
Yeah.
But they're permanent, right? They're
It's a permanent.
flash.
There would be a stop sign in there no matter what.
Yeah.
But
You
the
just
only
take that
reason we
stop
went,
sign down and put another one up, a regular one up.
the only reason we went with the flashing one there is because it is a higher traffic road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming up over the hill, so it's a little bit harder to see, but
Right.
you can still see the light as you're getting to
Yeah.
the top of the hill. So that's the only reason we opted for the flashers. Get
Yeah.
more attention out of it.
Well, I agree with it, but I think once it's been there,
I mean, we can always look if we know there's another area and take them down, move them to another spot. If
since
the
they're so
pole's set up
expensive,
for
if
it.
we can use them.
Yeah, I mean, you could.
Once
take
you
them
hit
down and
that
move
hit that time frame where okay,
Are they
people
that
know it is.
expensive?
them. $1,700 a piece.
Are they attached to the sign or they come off the sign?
No, it's attached to the
Yeah,
sign.
So you have to pull the whole thing.
Well, just the sign and
Yeah.
the solar pin. Yeah.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah.
Put it down by your place.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right.
And I give you your new officer credit. He down there and sitting, happened to see it on the board back there, and I know he got one that I seen. But just come down on his own, was sitting there.
That's what they're supposed to do.
I was just gonna say,
I
they
think
go
it's
down
Will,
on his
isn't it?
own.
I think his name is Will.
Yep.
Yeah, I stopped and talked to him for a few minutes there.
Okay, we're out. We don't have a reason to go into closed session this month. I just always put it there so in case something comes up in between. So may I have a motion to adjourn? Second. And we all say? Aye. We're out.